All right, the shot you saw came from the book and it was about product shots, and we've got a really great trick for doing product shots. First, let's talk about the setup we're going to do. As soon as I start to think of doing a product shot, I immediately start to think about using spider lights because they're instant on. It's so much easier to get your product shot set up using these because the lights, it's what you see is what you get. So I use these. Now here's what we did for a very, very simple product table. We actually just stuck a little coffee table under here. A white roll of seamless paper. I think it's like 5 feet wide, so very inexpensive. The whole setup for this part here is 3 pieces of gaffer tape along a brick wall, a little piece of white seamless paper, that's it. But what you really want to do, and the whole trick to this is to making this look more professional, is you got to buy one extra little thing. And it can be very inexpensive or it can be 20, 30 bucks, but that's still pretty inexpensive. It's this thing right over here. A sheet of plexiglass right here. That's all you need. It's a big sheet of plexiglass about this big. Now, you can actually go to your local home improvement store and they sell plexiglass by the sheet. So this is where we got this one, was just the local home improvement store, the Home Depot, Lowe's kind of thing. However, outside of this, you can actually buy a cheap picture frame. If you don't need one this big, you can buy a cheap picture frame. You know how you go to the store and they have these picture frames and you can tell that it's plexiglass and not real glass? In that case, you can just use a big sheet from there and take it out. But we spent just a couple extra dollars, still very inexpensive, to get this. I'm going to have David come in real quick and just drop this down under our lens. And we're going to shoot that lens, and watch how easy it is to put a product shot like this together. So we put the plexiglass down, we position the lens. Now I'm going to say something that's going to sound really obvious here, but this is going to save you a lot of time and trouble. Right now, once you get everything in place, you want to do 2 things. Take a cloth and clean whatever product it is you're shooting. In this case, we're just shooting a lens like we did in the book. Clean the product. It'll save you so much time later. Clean it really, really well. Use an air blower to blow any dust or anything off, because there's no sense in going and doing it manually later in Photoshop. You can spend 30 seconds now and it'll save you 30 minutes later. Number 2 is clean the plexiglass. Keep the plexiglass nice and clean. So you'll want to go through there with some Windex, clean off the plexiglass and keep it clean. Once you've done that, the rest is honestly very, very simple. We're using 2 lights here because we want a lot of light. You can just kind of move these, and as you move them, you can exactly see what it does to your shadows. So I usually put 2 lights that are kind of nice and close in. What I'm looking for when I'm doing product photography is I want to see highlights and shadows. So I want to see dark areas and then light areas. That's why strip banks are very popular for this too. If you're using strobes and you have a strip bank, one of those tall, thin soft boxes that's 1 foot by like 3 feet deep or 2 feet by 5 feet, those are great. If you ever see someone shoot a wine bottle and they have that long reflection going down there, that's what they're using, is strip banks. So in this case, we're just using a couple of soft boxes. What we're trying to do is minimize the shadows. I have my, because we're set down so low, because we just put this on a little coffee table, I had to put my tripod down so low. Do you want to shoot on a tripod for this stuff? Absolutely. Product shots are critical that they're really, really, really nice and crisp. So this is one of those cases where I'm going to get down on one knee and shoot with a tripod, because it makes all the difference in the world. You want your product shots to be absolutely perfectly crisp. All right, shooting in aperture priority mode, no problem there. We're set at, in this case, it's about a 60th of a second at f4.5. If you want to minimize your camera shake, of course, you can just use a little remote, but in this case, I'm just going to use, shoot it with my my regular shutter. Let me just back off a little bit and see how that creates a great reflection. See that plexiglass? This is where the plexiglass makes its money, right there. I used the self-timer so it didn't create any camera shake, but I won't put you through that too much longer here. Let's just take a couple of more shots, zoom in a little bit more. You can really see that perfect reflection, and that's the trick. So it's very, very easy to do these, and you're picking up the reflection that you would create later in Photoshop. You're doing it right here. Just, if you don't use this spider lights, there's no problem. You can use 2 strobes for here. I would kind of position them in the same way. If you want to, you can also do a 45-degree angle. You could put one main light here, and then in the back corner, put the strobe coming in this way, but then you're going to have to worry about having light spill back into here. So that's why this particular setup, or I want to show you a variation on this. The variation on this would be literally to just put the lights on either side, just like this, on both sides of the product. Here's one, Here's the other. Is a nice variation on that. Gives you nice highlights all the way around. Let me turn this in just a hair. See that nice highlight it creates across the top? Just like that. And I'm just going to take another shot. It's already in position, so I can just kind of step back and take a look. And we'll compare the two. And you can see how the highlight moved. Kind of creates a highlight a little bit higher up. But that's one of the nice things about all this. Also, very popular with product photography is a white bounce card. It's actually, you're going to go buy, and you'll get this at like a at an office supply store, just a white piece of cardboard. It's either, you can call it, same thing you'd mounting board, foam core board in the background, and you're just going to hold it up and put it right beside there. So if you only have one light, you'll position one light here and a piece of foam core right there to reflect that light right back into that. Very, very simple setup, but very, very effective for product photography.